Hi everyone, Steve and I in sunny Smyrna, Georgia on a cool day. Thought we could get out and get a ride. I just was watching a video by HoaryRider, and he, like me, he tends to ramble quite a bit, and he admits it like I do, that we tend to ramble quite a bit. But he was getting on and off about some subjects and was going to ask about what websites we go to, videos we watch, things like that, I guess. And it got me thinking about some of the places that I've been lured to lately, and I've been watching some videos, not by a rider, but by a clinical psychologist named Jordan Peterson. He's been in the news a lot lately because he's in a fight with the Canadian government over free speech. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. What I wanted to say was, because of some of the things I've been watching in these discussions, panel discussions and things like that he's been on, and they've been discussing a lot of really what Steve and I call philosophical ideas. And you know, we're all social creatures, even motorcyclists, who I can make a point, and I think I can prove my point, that we are probably some of the most solitary people in our societies. And why? Because we're out, here I am riding. Now, if I didn't have Steve with me, I'd be all by myself. Most of the time, I'm riding by myself. Even when I'm in a group, I'm still by myself. Now, we do have intercoms and things like that you know, a lot of guys use, but basically we're one with our machine and just one. And we'd like to group together when we get where we're going. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just more of how we've been socialized over the years, and we crave company. We crave people that are like us. I've never met anybody on a motorcycle that I didn't like. I mean, that we didn't have something in common, that we couldn't sit down and talk, have a beer or a piece of pizza or whatever, you know, and just, and I don't think that's all, you know, I don't know that that's all because we're all such great guys. I think it's because it's something that we tend to crave. You know, we want to belong to something. Even people like me who insist on riding a Yamaha when everybody else is on a Harley, you know, even people like me want to belong, and I'm just a contrarian, and that's why I'm on this Yamaha. And you know, I found it before I found a Harley I liked, and I'm one of those guys. I freely admit it. I couldn't tell you. I can't tell one Harley from another. I know the names of some of the stuff, but I don't know what they are. So, you know, you can fault me for that. But online, I tend to seem to gravitate to conversations or situations where it's black and white, no gray. Because with black and white, you've got you can take a side. You can say, okay, I'm for this, I'm against that, or I'm against this, or I'm for this. And you know, a lot of the really bigger subjects that, you know, we get into, and I don't want to. I never wanted my channel to ever become a big political thing, and so I don't talk politics. But there's comfort in knowing what you think is right and what you think is wrong. And it seems to me that so much of today's everyday life is gray. There's so much you have to compromise on. There's so much you have to give up to be socialized, to be social. And I think that's why people gravitate to groups of, like, motorcyclists group together, and boaters group together, and guys who own airplanes group together, you know, people who shoot pool group together. They're not even, you know, like motorcycle riding, it's not even really a group thing. Again, like I said, it's an individual thing that you do, but again, we still seek to be in a group. And I think my channel is the same way, and I would hesitate to say that most of you guys that get on here and share your thoughts on YouTube while you're riding around on your motorcycle, you're the same way. You want to be part of the group. You might not want to be, you know, I mean, again, I think I'm kind of antisocial. I mean, I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean that all my life I've been very happy by myself. I've been very happy, even as a kid. My mother could, you know, kick me out the back door and say, I'll call you when it's lunchtime, and I'd go out there and hang out, you know, all day, no problem. Happy as a clam, you know, killing ants and and you know, throwing pine cones at squirrels and climbing trees and you know, whatever, you know. But I think, you know, if I have learned anything looking back in all these years of mine, I think that's it. We seek clarity. You know, we want to know the answer. We don't want to know, well, maybe it's this or maybe it's that. And now there are a lot of things you can't know for sure, really, you know, and unfortunately there are things in your life that change, you know, that you know, one time you absolutely knew something was true, and then you find out later that it's not. And there are lots of things like that. And you know, I don't want to go into a lot of personal things, but I've certainly had my share of those, and most of them involve other people. And you know, you might have thought one person was a certain way, and it turns out that, you know, over time they changed, or maybe they always were, you know, different than what you thought, and you know, things like that. But it just seems that way. I mean, I don't know how you can go through life and not have disappointments, but I think, you know, in my own antisocial way, here I am on YouTube, you know, replying to another motovlogger, HoaryRider, in a rambling, incoherent way, like I usually do. But it does something for me, you know. It makes me feel part of the group, and or part of a group, you know. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need to. What was the old thing? What was the old line about the TV show Cheers? You know, you sometimes you want to go somewhere where everybody knows your name. It's that kind of thing, you know. I think we all strive to be social, but you know, we're not always socialized, I guess, maybe what I'm trying to say. But anyway, you know, just as a little example of that, I was riding, I mentioned this once before, my wife and I were riding on this bike near my home, and one of the, and I won't name them, one of the motorcycle gangs that are in our area, which are nationwide, one of the national brands, about 15 of them rode by, and every one of them waved to me. And I was just blown away by that. You know, here I am, you know, couldn't be any farther away from being a gang member or wanting to be, and yet because we were sharing the same experience, we were all part of the same brotherhood. Now, I don't want to go hang out with them. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. It's just me personally. I don't like to go hang out like that. But I was just blown away by it, and it made an effect on me. You know, it really did. It changed some preconceptions that I had, and it kind of highlighted how I think anybody, no matter how badass you are or what a wimp you are, you know, you want to belong. And so I know Steve and I like to hang out together some. He's pretty quiet, and I like that. You know, when you know, as far as sloths go, Steve's the #1 guy. He's great. But anyway, those are my rambling, responsive, philosophical thoughts today. If you'd like to add your own or make your own video, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to share a link below for HoaryRider's video, and hope you'll check it out and see what you think, and see maybe you can ramble as good as we can. All right, everyone. Well, sayonara from Smyrna, Georgia. Get home before I absolutely freeze to death. And everyone, take care. Bye-bye.